Good, happy Friday morning, March 27, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, Governor Chris Sununu issues stay-at-home order for New Hampshire. Governor tells all non-essential businesses to close. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Hi, I'm Sherry Allen, proud owner of Mercedes-Benz in Portsmouth. We put every effort into making Mercedes...
To combat the coronavirus pandemic, Governor Chris Sununu is issuing a stay-at-home order effective Friday night at 11:59 p.m., lasting until May 4th.
We cannot stress this enough. You should stay at your house unless absolutely necessary. Of course, it will not prevent you from leaving your home to go on a walk or when heading to the store, or if you need groceries or simply going to work. But beyond essential necessities, you should not be leaving your home.
The order will close what are deemed non-essential businesses like barbershops, hair and cosmetic salons, tattoo parlors, non-essential retail stores, and malls. Staying open will be grocery and convenience stores, pharmacies, gas stations, banks and credit unions, and takeout and delivery from restaurants. The governor says he is not taking this action lightly because of the number of people who will be put out of work.
Those are individuals that, for the first time in their lives, might not be able to put food on their table. And as a governor, I can't tell you how hard that decision is. But we have to also appreciate we need stamina. We're going to be in this for a while. There is an end game. There is no doubt an end game to this. But we do need to ask the people of the state to be patient.
The governor is also closing state beaches to avoid crowds gathering as the weather warms up. And the stay-home order will extend school closures until that May 4th deadline, meaning 5 more weeks of distance learning for students. And Sununu says that order could still be extended for weeks after that. The governor also says that a comprehensive list of the businesses deemed essential will be released tomorrow morning. Reporting live at the EOC complex in Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. What is an essential business? State officials provide lists. Essential businesses to stay open while stay-at-home order in effect. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The day you moved in, I became more than just a house.
Turn on party time.
Just tell me what you need, and we...
Well, Tom, there's been a lot of questions about what's going to close here. Tonight, the governor's office releasing a complete list of what's considered an essential job or business. Among them, state parks and state liquor stores will stay open. As of 11:59 tomorrow night, a stay-at-home order will begin in New Hampshire, at least until May 4th. Governor Chris Sununu telling Granite Staters to stay home unless absolutely necessary.
This virus is real. It is taking lives. We know that the surge is still ahead of us.
Businesses considered non-essential will have to close. That includes barbershops, hair salons, cosmetic stores, tattoo parlors, and non-essential stores and retail malls. Those remaining open include grocery and convenience stores, pharmacies, gas stations, banks and credit unions, as well as takeout and delivery from restaurants.
This is not a shelter in place. We are not closing down transportation. I'm not closing our borders, and no one will be prevented from leaving their home.
Sununu is closing state beaches to prevent crowds and out-of-state visitors as the weather warms up.
What we're really trying to do is provide another tool in the toolbox for locals to manage their communities.
The stay-at-home order also applies to New Hampshire schools. Remote learning will continue at least until May 4th. Sununu says all of these decisions were difficult but necessary to save lives amidst the coronavirus pandemic.
It will take sacrifice, but New Hampshire is resilient, and we will get through it.
To see the full list of all the businesses that are considered essential, you can visit this story on WMUR.com. Of course, this order affects so many of us across the Granite State. For more on that, Gene Mackin joins us live in Manchester with Reaction. Gene?
And Mike, people have a lot of questions tonight. What is really considered essential? What will be staying open after 11:59 p.m. tomorrow night? Well, we can tell you this essentials list is long. Granite Staters want to know what stays open when the clock strikes 11:59 p.m. Friday night.
Honestly, it's kind of scary. Like, me and my friends are pretty concerned about, work and stuff.
The list of essential businesses and employees clearly covers healthcare, law enforcement, and first responders. Also, utilities and fuel like gas stations, food, farm, and florists like grocery stores. Transportation is considered essential. Truck stops, auto sales, auto and bike repair shops. And step up to the window, takeout is essential.
Yes, ma'am.
How's business?
Doing a little slow, doing okay so far.
The owner of Taj India on Elm Street in Manchester is glad his customers can carry out.
That's good, and we are trying to protect everybody and just serving through the window so nobody can come in, only employees only.
What else is considered essential and stays open? Hotels and lodging, banks, hardware and home improvement stores, construction, gun stores, laundromats, pet supply and garden centers, the seafood industry, and yes, liquor stores. Granite Staters urged to support businesses safely, like Bernadette did picking up food.
I like their food. And I have a restaurant myself in New York, and right now we're struggling, and so as long as I can support people, I'm willing to support them.
And right now, gyms are not considered essential, meaning they will close this weekend. You are encouraged to get out and exercise as long as you follow safety guidelines. Live in Manchester tonight, Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. DHHS warns of potential COVID-19 community exposure in Salem and Northwood. Anyone at Honeydew in Salem or Co-Brown Academy event should monitor, DHH says. The New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services advised the public Thursday about 2 potential community exposures of the novel coronavirus. Health officials said someone with COVID-19 was at the Honeydew Donuts location on South Broadway in Salem during the following dates and times. Tuesday, March 17, 2020 at 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Wednesday, March 18, 2020 from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Thursday, March 19, 2020 from 5 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Officials said anyone who visited the Honeydew Donuts restaurant during these dates might have been potentially exposed and should observe their health for fever and respiratory illness. Any person who visited the facility and develops symptoms should stay away from other people and immediately contact their healthcare provider, officials said in a press release. In addition, health officials said a person with COVID-19 attended an event that begun at 7 p.m. on Saturday, March 14th at the gym at Cobrown Academy in Northwood. Anyone who attended the event was at risk for potentially being diagnosed with COVID-19 and should monitor themselves for symptoms including fever or respiratory illness. Any person who was in the gym during the event and developed symptoms should stay away from other people and immediately contact their healthcare provider. The risk of exposure applies only to the gym event during the event at 7 p.m. and not to attendance at the school or at other school activities, officials said in a press release. DHHS officials also announced there were 21 new positive COVID-19 test results, bringing the state's total to 158. The new cases include 5 men and 15 women and 1 boy under the age of 18. The new patients live in Rockingham, 11, Hillsborough, 5, Merrimack, 2, Cheshire, 1, Grafton, 1, and Sullivan, 1. Now let's take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire. What you need to know. 158 number of people in New Hampshire who have tested positive for COVID-19. 529,614 number of people worldwide who have tested positive. 1 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 25 number of people hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 1,209 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. 0 cases in Coas, 23 cases in Grafton, 7 cases in Carroll, 8 cases in Belknap, 7 cases in Stratford, 5 cases in Merrimack, 2 cases in Sullivan, 2 cases in Cheshire, 35 cases in Hillsborough, and 67 cases in Rockingham. New cases each day in New Hampshire. As you can see in the purple are daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange are new hospitalizations, and in the red are the deaths. And again, common symptoms are fever, cough, and difficult breathing. How it spreads. And prevention tips. And if you want to see that again, we will share it with you after the broadcast. State says COVID-19 testing backlog to clear soon. Granite staters frustrated with delays. People waiting more than 10 days. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Monica Hernandez.
I absolutely recommend Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum because it really does help you take care of both issues.
I was sick, and I had no idea whether or not I was had COVID-19 or not.
Donna Leroy is just one of the Granite Staters still waiting to learn if she has COVID-19.
Well, if I was positive, how many other people took the test? Because there was a lot of people there taking the test.
One Granite Stater, who asked not to be identified, says it's been 10 days since her test, and still no answers.
Just alone in my family, we had 4 people that possibly have it. I was tested and they haven't any results. So we have a lot more people in the state than they actually know.
The backlogs are in the process of clearing up, and we suspect they'll continue to clear up over the next couple of days.
Governor Chris Sununu says delays are due to high demand, and not all of the tests are being processed at the state lab. For those tested at the Armory in Manchester, the Manchester Health Department says once they learned of the backlog, they switched from the state lab to Catholic Medical Center and a commercial lab. State officials say Dartmouth-Hitchcock is now helping them speed up the process.
As the supplies come into the state so we can provide things like the PPE and the swabs, that they'll be up to full capacity very shortly.
Senator Jean Shaheen's office is planning to look into the backlogs.
It's a reflection of the fact that we have been way too slow in ramping up the testing.
As those like Donna know all too well. Monica Hernandez, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Church members from Auburn supply families in need during COVID-19 pandemic. Bags of food and supplies. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Michael.
You know, it was probably the best psychic reading I've ever had.
I really felt like that she knew me.
Gosh, I got everything I could imagine from my reading.
The reading was unexpectedly warm.
Speak to a psychic for $1 per minute. If it's not the best psychic reading you've ever experienced, it's free.
Raph is one of many people in Manchester wondering how they'll get through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now that the state has shut down, I am now the possibility of being out of a job.
But with the uncertainty comes a donation from the Tower Hill Church in Auburn to help families get through these hard times.
In the midst of everything going on around us, for me, it was how can we step up and how can we do something in the midst of this? How do we find the silver lining?
The church reached out to the national relief organization called Convoy of Hope. They sent 38,000 pounds of food and supplies to New Hampshire to make these meal kits. The church teamed up with the Manchester School District to reach families with children who rely on breakfast and lunch at school. Inside the bags, there are cereal, soup, cookies, even toilet paper, items families desperately need right now.
It's very difficult for the people that have low income and that can't support their children because of the coronavirus at the moment. I think it's pretty nice that these people are helping families with food to eat and, things to supply.
The church has also given containers of sanitizing wipes to the Elliott Hospital and the Auburn Police and Fire Departments.
This is one of those opportunities to show love and to show that there is hope and that we are going to get past this and that we are going to come out on the other side stronger.
It really is fulfilling when we look at that and you see the smiles on people's face, just the gratitude they have, and just an opportunity to say, hey, we love you, we care for you, and we're here for you.
In Manchester, Kristen Carosa, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Seacoast Sewing and Quilting producing PPE for first responders. Protective equipment in short supply. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Nationally, car crashes are the leading cause of death for children. Whether your kid wants to rock crazy hair, invite the whole neighborhood to party, or even just stay up late, you must choose your battles. What matters is they always buckle up. In every position, every trip, every time. It's the law.
One of the hot topics throughout this COVID-19 pandemic has been PPE, personal protective equipment, or the lack thereof. One of the items in short supply? Masks. Jill Patsfield, owner of Seacoast Sewing and Quilting, has helped gather hundreds of volunteers to lend a hand, one stitch at a time.
People know me. They know I have a shop, and they're reaching out because they need help. They need supplies. They need patterns. They need guidance.
Following the social distancing guidelines, most folks are stitching at home, making masks that meet the requirement of local hospitals. Jill says she facilitates stitchers from Salisbury, Massachusetts to northern Maine and anywhere in between.
Stitchers are tenacious, and they have really big hearts.
Seacoast Sewing also serves as a drop-off and pickup location for the masks that are made. They go to local hospitals, doctors' offices, and first responders. Now, different facilities have different requirements for their masks. This is a no-show mesh that can be inserted in the mask and make it more effective. But this initiative is more than just generous. For a lot of the stitchers, it's personal, with family members or maybe even their own children working in healthcare. Jill says even one of her instructors is a physician's assistant in Boston.
We have to protect those who protect us, and first responders are high up on my list because if we need them, they'll be there, and we need to do everything we can to keep them safe.
So this week, we salute Jill Patsfield and her sea of stitchers. They're this week's Hometown Heroes.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dow features point to 200-point opening drop after capping off massive 3-day rally. U.S. stock features were pointing lower Friday following a sharp rally sparked by increasing expectations of a massive fiscal settlement, while investors shook off grim unemployment data. Pandemic taking staggering toll on U.S. jobs. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
And the staggering toll, of course, on American families, even if it's not your health, it's your job. Millions of workers suddenly without a job in this country, and this number today, and it was historic. Nearly 3.3 million Americans applying for unemployment benefits in just 1 week. So when is the help coming? Here's Jonathan Carl with answers tonight.
The coronavirus pandemic is taking a staggering toll on American jobs. Nearly 3.3 million filing unemployment claims in 1 week.
When I heard the number, I heard it could be 6 million, could be 7 million. It's 3.3 or 3.2. But it's a lot of jobs. But I think we'll come back very strong the sooner we get back to work.
The pain is widespread. As revealed in our new poll, 1 in 3 Americans say they or an immediate family member have been laid off or lost their job as a result of the pandemic. And more. Half of all surveyed report a cut in pay or work hours. This morning, the Treasury Secretary said the staggering number of new jobless claims will be a temporary phenomenon.
To be honest with you, I just think these numbers right now are not relevant, and, whether they're bigger or smaller in the short term.
Barbara Bridges was laid off from her job as a sales manager at a hotel in San Antonio. Her biggest challenge now, how she's going to cover her $3,000 a month medical expenses.
There's thousands of us in the same situation, and we're just trying to stay as positive as possible, but it's definitely scary.
The $2 trillion recovery package is now headed for a final vote tomorrow, paving the way for payments to American families. That includes $1,200 payments plus $500 per child to individuals earning less than $75,000 a year. Those earning up to $99,000 a year will get a smaller check. And the checks would begin going out at the end of the first week of April. For millions of Americans, that help can't come fast enough. Devon Moisey, a single mother of 5 in North Carolina, was about to take a new job when the crisis hit. She has no savings.
Without any way to have an income or to make money, we were just sitting here pretty much devastated and hoping that this situation, this nightmare, will end.
And we will continue with these stories every night here. John, we know the U.S. has now surpassed China and Italy in the number of diagnosed cases. We reported that at the top tonight. And the president late today talking about getting people back to work, parts of this country back open.
He's clearly eager to see these restrictions lifted, and today he was talking again about the idea of seeing the restrictions lifted in parts of the country that have not been hit hard, or not as hard as New York or California or Washington State by coronavirus. But of course, David, it's hard to know where this virus is going to appear next.
No question, some difficult days ahead, John. Thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for watching us this Friday morning right here on the Riley King Newscast. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.